Hi everybody, welcome to this Python tutorial. Today we're going to write a computer program which uses functions to perform specific tasks to help the program do what it's supposed to do. Okay, so this is an introduction actually to modular coding. We're going to be designing modules and they are often referred to as functions. Okay. So in today's scenario, we're going to solve a problem for a scientist. And this is the problem that we're going to solve. A scientist is working in his office, and this is his routine. He yawns, he slurps coffee. If the coffee is hot, he screams, he yawns again. He enters some data into a computer program, and then he yawns 5 times again. This is his routine. And this is the algorithm that we're going to solve for this problem. Okay, so let's go into our IDE, and I've already written out some comments to remind me of the algorithm, the steps that we have to solve. So let's get started. The first thing we do is yawn. So I'm just going to do this using print statements. If you know another way to do this, please use your own idea. But there we go. We're going to yawn 5 times. Then we're going to slurp some coffee. I'm just going to use another print statement again. Then, if the coffee is hot, we scream. We need to find a way to randomize the idea of coffee being hot or not hot. I need to think of a way to randomize this. So a little earlier, I did a research on Python random numbers, and I found this thing called randint. So here, this code generates a number between 3 and 9, just a random number. So let's copy this code, take it back into my IDE. Now we are importing a file here to help us do this. So anything that we import, I usually put that at the very top of the program. Now this code generates a random number. I don't really want to print it, so I'm going to get rid of that. What I want to do is generate a random number and assign it to a variable. Okay? So let's generate a random number between, let's say, 0 and 10. And if the data that we assign to that variable is greater than 5, that's when we scream. Okay? Scream! Okay. Then, again, we yawn 5 times. So let's just copy the yawn code and paste it into here. Then we enter some data. So again, let's create a variable. And we're going to enter an integer from the keyboard. All right. And finally, we yawn 5 times. So I'm going to take my yawn code and copy it, paste it into there. Brilliant! I think I've got a good solution to the problem. Now let's run the module and just see if it works as expected. We yawn 5 times, we slurp some coffee. He didn't scream, so the coffee wasn't hot. We yawn 5 times, and then we enter some data. And then we yawn 5 times. And that's the solution to the problem. Let's run it again and just see if we can see that. Yeah, okay. We yawn 5 times, we slurp the coffee. This time it's hot, so we scream. And then we yawn 5 times, we enter some data, and we yawn 5 times. Okay. Now the program designer has decided that the routine is going to change. Instead of 5 times, we're going to yawn 6 times. So I now have to look at my algorithm, add another print statement there, and there, and there. So I've made 3 changes to my code. Now that's not really a very efficient way to write a computer program. What we really want to think about doing is designing functions to perform these tasks. The yawn task, the slurp task, the scream task, the yawn task, the enter data task, and the yawn task. Okay? So really, if I want to think about this, let's just get rid of my code. I really want to do this. I want to yawn. I want to slurp. I want to get a random number. And if that random number is greater than 5, I want to scream. And then finally, I want to yawn. I want to enter data. And then I want to yawn again. That's the solution to the problem. Now, these are tasks in the program that I want a function to deal with. So what I'm going to do is yawn, slurp, scream, yawn, enter data, and yawn. Okay? So what we now need to do is design these functions. Okay? And in Python, we use the keyword def, define. I'm going to define the yawn function. Okay? And the yawn function is basically all of these print statements. So let's take those statements and we will paste them into here. Oop, my indenting is all messed up. Now let's go back to the original idea that when we yawn 5 times. So that's the yawn function. Now let's design the slurp function. And if you remember, the slurp is just one single print statement. So let's grab that. And I'm just going to paste it into here. The next thing we need to design is the scream function. Very basic functions. And the scream function was another print statement. And that was scream. And another function in my computer program is the enter data function. And how did this work? Let's just go and look at the code for the enter data function. Ah, there it is. Let's just grab that, and I'm going to paste that into the definition of the enter data function. So at the top of my Python file, I now have some function definitions. Each function performs a task. And in my computer program, this is my program. We're going to call the yawn function, call the function, and it will do this. When it's finished, we go back to the program. That's finished. Then we go to slurp. We jump into the slurp function and we execute the code. Then, in my main program, we generate a random number, and if that variable is greater than 5, we call the scream function. Hey, scream function, we need you. So the scream function is activated. Then we call the yawn function again. Oh, no problem. Here it is. So we print out yawn 5 times. Then we go back to the main program and we call the enter data function. The enter data function is activated and we do this. Then we jump back and we call the yawn function again. So the yawn function completes its task one more time. Okay? So I'm going to get rid of my original computer program. Oh, it was very long, wasn't it? Let's just delete all that. This is my new program. Okay, so let's run the program and see if it works as expected. Oh, we called the yawn function. Then we called the slurp function. Then we evaluated that hot variable and we called the scream function if hot was greater than 5. Then we called the yawn function. Then we're going to call the enter data function. And then we call the yawn function. It works! Oh! So these functions perform specific tasks, and in my program, when I need them, I just call them. Maybe I need to yawn 10 times or 15 times. Just call the yawn function as many times as you need. Maybe we scream twice or 3 times. Maybe we have to enter data more than once. So let's run this program and see if it works as expected. We yawn 15 times, we slurp the coffee, we yawn once, we enter some data, we have to enter some data again, and then we yawn. Oh, it works. Now, before I finish this video tutorial, what I want to suggest to you is some programmers define a function called main. And in the main function, that's where they put their computer program. Whoop, I have to indent everything. Is that going to be easy? Yes. This is the main program. And actually, my program is now simply call main. Right? So when we call main, we jump into this function and then we start the program. That's a very common strategy when you're designing a modularized computer program.